I found an old notebook the other day, page after page full of the goals I was chasing 5 years ago, and reading them I had this strange realization that I didn't want half of those things anymore. We evolve every year, and as we evolve, we become different people, but unfortunately our goals often stay frozen in time. We set them and then we kind of forget them, but maybe we're still going after them. But eventually a gap opens up between the life we're building and the people we're becoming. That's where the friction shows up. So how do you know when that's happening to you? There are a few clear signals. Let's talk about those. So the first signal that your goal isn't fitting anymore is that the excitement is gone and you can't revive it. So maybe there was a time when this goal energized you and you could talk about it for hours, but now the spark isn't there anymore. And you try to hype yourself up and set new deadlines and get motivated, but the energy never returns in any real way. It kind of feels like you're dragging your future behind you instead of feeling good about moving toward it. That's often the first hint that a goal has pretty much outlived its purpose. Signal number 2, progress doesn't feel like progress anymore. So you hit the milestones, but instead of feeling proud or excited, you just kind of feel nothing. Or worse, you might feel frustrated that you're still not where you thought you would feel fulfilled. So the big celebration you expected never shows up, and that leaves you wondering why you ever wanted this in the first place. When success doesn't feel like success, it could be that the target no longer matches who you are. Signal number 3 is your imagination keeps drifting somewhere else. So you catch yourself daydreaming about different possibilities or new directions or new identities or new challenges. Even if you haven't spoken these out loud yet, it could be that the part of you is already moving on. I mean, your mind keeps trying to show you a future that feels more alive than the one you had planned. When your inner world starts building out a different dream, that's usually the moment when your old goals don't fit anymore. Unfortunately, this is where most people make a mistake. They try to set new goals the same way they set the old ones. And that's usually by thinking harder, planning more, and forcing clarity to arrive on a deadline. But when you're evolving into something new, your next direction doesn't come from logic. It comes from intuitive signals, and it takes time to receive those. These are the little pushes and pulls happening in your life right now. They're curiosities that won't leave you alone. So maybe ideas that feel too random to take seriously, or moments that make you feel more awake than usual. Those flashes aren't distractions, they're clues. And if you pay attention to them and if you follow them, they'll help you shape the next version of your life with a lot less pressure and a lot more accuracy. So here's a simple way to start. Number 1, just catch the sparks. Pay attention to anything that lights you up or that feels like relief from the life you have now. A podcast topic that you can't stop thinking about, or a conversation that energizes you, a random idea that keeps coming back. Write those down because they matter. You're not having to invent what's next here. All you have to do is notice it. Step number 2, you track the patterns. Once you start catching enough clues, you're going to see some patterns start to show up, or themes, if that seems to make more sense. You'll see the same ideas showing up in different corners of your life. So those patterns will start pointing you toward the direction your identity is already growing into. Step number 3 is you test that direction. So pick one tiny action that moves you a single step toward the thing you're feeling pulled towards. You're not looking for a life overhaul here. No big, huge decisions. Just one little experiment, one little phone call, a conversation, something that to give you information that your brain can't produce by simply thinking. Every test teaches you more about the life that's actually going to fit you. Imagine someone wakes up one morning and realizes that their life feels flat. Nothing is wrong really on the surface, but every day just looks the same. And even the things they used to enjoy feel a little bit muted. They look around and think, is this really it? That's usually when the little sparks begin to show up, even if they seem random or unnoticeable at first. Maybe a friend mentions they joined a hiking group and that idea lingers. Or a local cafe features live music on Fridays and something about it feels inviting. You might walk past a community art flyer pinned to a bulletin board and notice an unexpected pull toward it. These aren't big obvious moments, but they can stand out because they make life feel a little bit more awake. That's the catchphrase. Just paying attention to what brings even a tiny shift of energy inside you. Over a few weeks, the more you keep track of those moments are going to reveal a theme. Some of the sparks might have something in common. You might see that each one involves a desire for creativity or for movement or for being around different types of people. Suddenly, it makes sense why things have felt so dull lately. Maybe your world has gotten too small or too repetitive or too quiet. You didn't necessarily lose your motivation. motivation, you just needed something that made you feel alive again. That's the track phase, making sense of the patterns instead of dismissing them as random. And from there, you just try one small experiment that moves you gently in the direction that you're sensing. Don't have to go on a dramatic adventure here. All you have to do is something small, like sign up for that beginning guitar workshop you've been thinking about. It's just one class, 1 hour. What have you got to lose? So maybe you walk in and you're a little nervous, but you walk out with a spark that you haven't felt in a long time. That's the test phase, choosing one tiny step that helps you feel the difference in your body instead of trying to think your way into a new direction. So if you feel stuck or disconnected, sometimes motivation can come back the moment you follow what feels energizing to you, rather than what you think you're supposed to do or supposed to want. When those sparks start showing up, they give you something solid to work with. You start seeing what brings the energy back into your life, which makes it easier to imagine a future that actually feels good to move toward. That's the moment a new goal begins to take shape on its own, because it's forming from real experience instead of pressure or guesswork. So after that first class, for example, maybe something shifts. Maybe you didn't just have a fun hour, but you felt like a different version of yourself while you were there. And driving home, you start thinking about what life used to feel like when you felt that way more often. That's a hint of excitement that you haven't felt in a long time, maybe. And it's coming from something maybe you never would have listed as a goal. And this is where the old way of goal setting wants to jump in, right? I mean, the brain loves to declare the next big thing we're going to do. Oh, okay, well, we had fun at one guitar class. We're going to become a musician. We're going to travel the world and earn money playing music and going to be in a rock band or whatever. Well, maybe not. We don't have to go that far, because that's just noise. Instead, what we need is to slow down and pay attention to what exactly was it. This is where you can ask yourself a couple of simple questions. What part of this experiment felt good? Was it the music and the creativity, or was it being around different kind of people? Was it trying something new that was a little bit scary? The answers to those questions can give you clues about where your life really wants to grow. Then you can do a second test that leans into that same energy. So maybe you go back to and take another guitar class, but maybe you take a hike with a friend, or you try a different kind of creative workshop. Each time you do this, you learn a little bit more about where your life wants to go next. And you start to understand what you're really craving. More lightness, more connection, more discovery, more creativity. It's gradually going to reveal itself to you. So you're going to realize the version of yourself who set the old goal needed rest and stability maybe, but that chapter's done its job. And now there's a different pull in your life, maybe towards challenge or growth or a sense of aliveness that you haven't felt in a while. From there, a new goal is going to start to feel obvious. It might feel like building a more adventurous life, or returning to creative passions in a meaningful way, or reconnecting with a different community. It doesn't need to have the perfect title yet. It just needs a little bit of direction. That's how a new goal emerges, not from a brainstorming session, but from following what energizes you and letting your lived experiences show you where your next chapter is headed. Now it's your turn to follow those sparks and see what they're trying to tell you. Your investigation of the week. Here's what I'd love for you to try. Don't set a new goal the same way you set the old goal. Instead, over the next few days, just pay attention to anything, and I mean anything, that gives you a little spark of interest or energy. Notice the tiny things that feel different from the rest of your day. A thought that lifts you up, or a moment that feels lighter, or a conversation that leaves you curious. Something that makes you want to take one step forward, even if it's really small. Write those sparks down in one place. You can keep a notes app on your phone or use a page in your journal, whatever works. And you don't have to make sense of them yet. For now, you're just catching what stands out. Then at the end of the week, or 2 weeks even better, look back and see if anything is repeating. If you see a theme or a pattern, that's the clue to the direction your life wants to move. Once you see it, you can choose one tiny experiment that leans into that pattern. No big commitments yet, just one little test that helps you feel the difference in real time. If you want help with this, I have a free signals journal that's available at the link in the description below. It gives you 7 of the most common signals people get when their life is asking for a change, along with reflection prompts to help you understand what those clues might be pointing you toward. And if you would like more help with all of this, be sure to check out the video that's coming up on the end screen here in just a moment. For now, just remember that you don't have to set your new goals the same way you set your old goals. It's better to start listening to your life instead. Thanks for watching, and check out that video coming up. I'll see you there.